Have you ever seen a toy that makes you feel oddly understood? Meet Labubu, a tiny doll with scrunched up eyebrows, pouty lips, and a face that always looks slightly annoyed, like it just stubbed its toe or got asked to work overtime on a Friday. And yet, it's adorable, irresistibly so. But here's the thing, why is a grumpy looking doll capturing hearts around the world? Why are even adults, not just kids, crazy about something that looks like it just woke up grumpy? Maybe it's because Labubu speaks a silent truth we all relate to, that behind our forced smiles and polite nods, there's a little part of us that just wants to scream, "Not today." In a world obsessed with perfect smiles, Labubu dares to be unapologetically annoyed. It's a tiny rebellion stitched in fabric and fluff. Maybe we love it because for once we see ourselves reflected, that not in joy, but in our shared silent frustrations. It makes you think, could cuteness and grumpiness actually coexist? Could this strange little figure be teaching us something about authenticity or even self-acceptance? Next, we'll explore how Labubu became a global sensation and why its grumpy face might be the unexpected comfort we all needed. So, let's take a closer look at Labubu. This tiny, scrunched up face, always tired, kind of irritated, a little lazy, and completely unbothered by the chaos around it. It's not just a doll, it's basically us. Especially on a Monday morning before coffee, when your alarm feels more like a personal attack than a helpful reminder. But have you ever stopped to think, maybe that's exactly why we relate to it so deeply? We live in a time where everything feels loud and urgent, deadlines stacking up, gas prices rising, social media whispering, we're not good enough, not fast enough, not happy enough. And in the middle of that noise, Labubu appears, small, silent, slightly annoyed, but still cute. It's like a mirror held up to modern life. A little reflection of the part in all of us that's just trying to hold it together. Not trying to impress, not pretending to be cheerful when everything's overwhelming. Gen Z and millennials especially, those who grew up with curated feeds and toxic positivity, are craving something different now. Realness, honesty, even if that honesty looks like a pouty doll who's had enough of everyone's nonsense. And maybe that's the quiet magic of Labubu. It says, without saying a word, it's okay to feel this way. Tired, fed up, emotionally exhausted. You're not alone, and you don't need to mask it with fake smiles. What if that tiny scowl isn't negativity, but truth? What if it's a quiet, gentle rebellion in a world that tells you to just smile more? Next, we'll learn how Labubu went from an internet oddity to a cultural icon, and how this little doll, whose expression never changes, changed the way we see ourselves. Here's the thing about Labubu. It's not negative. It's just honest. And in a world that constantly demands you to be positive, smile more, and don't be so sensitive, the honesty feels revolutionary. Labubu doesn't fake a smile. It doesn't try to win approval by pretending to be cheerful. It shows up exactly as it is, frustrated, tired, and kind of done with everything, but still strangely comforting. Why? Because maybe what we've been calling negativity isn't really bad at all. Maybe it's just unfiltered truth. Think about it. How many times have you held in your anger just to keep the peace? How often do you say, "I'm fine," when you're not? Labubu is like that little voice inside you whispering, "It's okay to be real." When you're tired, rest. When you're upset, speak. When you're not okay, stop pretending. That's not weakness, that's strength. True positivity isn't about forcing a smile or ignoring your emotions. It's about listening to them. It's knowing when to pause, when to say no, when to protect your energy. It's about choosing peace, not performance. And that's the quiet, radical wisdom of Labubu. It reminds us, you don't have to be cheerful to be lovable. You don't have to be perfect to be okay. You're allowed to feel, to be messy, to breathe. So maybe Labubu's resting grump face isn't a sign of giving up, but a subtle invitation to slow down and live honestly, to stop performing happiness and start practicing peace. And hey, maybe that's the kind of positivity we've been needing all along. In the next part, we'll explore how Labubu is changing the way we express ourselves and why this little doll might just be the quiet hero of a generation craving authenticity. Have you noticed? Labubu is everywhere now. It started as a quirky character, but it's quietly becoming a global icon. You see it in comedy videos, on t-shirts, and as phone stickers, even as memes people share when they just need a little emotional relief. And somehow that tiny scowl seems to speak every language. Even in the US, a place where self-help slogans and grind culture are the norm, Labubu has found a place in people's hearts. Why? Maybe because it doesn't give you advice. It doesn't scream motivation at you. It just looks at life with this grumpy little face that says, yeah, I see the chaos, same here. It's a funny kind of therapy. You scroll past a meme of Labubu staring blankly into space, and suddenly you feel seen. Because deep down, don't we all sometimes just want someone or something to say, it's okay not to be okay? In a culture that tells you to hustle, to strive, to keep going no matter what, Labubu gently whispers something different. You're doing fine. Just breathe. Rest is not a weakness. It's humor. It's truth. It's healing. All rolled into one tiny, annoyed expression. And honestly, maybe that's what makes it so powerful. It reminds us that taking life seriously doesn't mean we have to take ourselves seriously all the time. So next time you see Labubu on your feed, maybe pause for a second. Smile back at that little face. Let it remind you that in this fast, demanding world, it's okay to slow down and laugh at the absurdity of it all. And we'll look at how Labubu is inspiring a new wave of creative expression, and how something so simple became a global language of calm, clarity, and compassion. Not every day is made for winning. Not every moment is made for greatness. And that's okay. Labubu isn't perfect. It doesn't try to be. It's moody, tired, awkward, and brutally honest. But maybe, just maybe, that honesty is exactly what we're missing in a world obsessed with being heroic, being flawless, being inspirational. What if being human is enough? We spend so much time chasing some impossible version of ourselves, stronger, happier, more productive, like being just okay is never enough. But then comes this little creature with its scrunched up face and half-hearted energy, and somehow it whispers something deeply human. You don't have to smile all the time to be doing your best. Positivity doesn't mean pretending every day is sunshine. It's the quiet resilience in showing up on the hard days, with a tired smirk, maybe even a sarcastic eye roll, but still showing up. That's what Labubu teaches us. It doesn't fight dragons or climb mountains. It doesn't shout motivation or promise you success. It just exists, truthfully. And in doing so, it reminds us that we can too. So here's a thought. Maybe we don't need to be heroes. Maybe what we need is to be real, to be kind to ourselves, to laugh at the mess, to rest without guilt, and to live even when we're not our most sparkling selves. Let Labubu be your reminder. You're allowed to be human, not perfect, not always upbeat, just honest. And that in itself is quietly powerful. Thank you for spending this journey with me. If this series helped you see things a little differently, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more soulful stories, and remember, your humanity is not a flaw, it's your superpower.